Hi, Jennifer Keitt here, your Chief Empowerment Officer right after the show with criminal defense attorney Kim Cornwell. Thank you so much for being with me on the show. You created the absolute best tool ever that I have seen. This pop quiz that we were taking throughout the show, kind of real life scenario that you give your own kids. How did you come up with that? Why did you come up with that?
Well, as I got more and more into doing just criminal law, I saw more and more scenarios with young people who encountered situations they didn't know how to navigate. And I realized that very often it's because they didn't know what their rights were. And it's not something that you just happen to read in the newspaper or you see on TV or you know. So I figured that one way to try and help my kids and perhaps, help their friends is to let them know through real life scenarios what they should do, what their rights might be, whether it's, if arrested, saying I want to speak to a lawyer, not feeling the pressure of having to make a statement, if they are, if detained for a traffic stop, as we talked about during the show.
Right.
Not feeling the pressure of saying, yes, you can look through my stuff, but, standing firm for what their Fourth Amendment
So we're going to answer some questions, but before that, I want to talk about this idea of feeling safe and being safe. What do you recommend that people, moms, dads, parents, how do you recommend we have these conversations about how to keep ourselves safe when we're in our cars, when we're out and about in life, just to make sure that things don't happen so that we don't end up needing to have a defense attorney or somebody else on our side? What do we do?
I'd say a lot of it starts earlier in life with preteens and teens and talking about situations that we as adults have encountered and things that we feel just almost common sense. As I mentioned, I'd been a potential carjacking situation.
Right.
My thought was, okay, get to a safe area where there are other people around and they can say, they could help me, they could...
So wait, can I do that if that's a police officer behind me and maybe I'm in a dark place and I don't want to,
Yes.
I don't feel comfortable pulling over?
What you should
Aren't you
do
going to get in trouble?
Put your hazard lights on, slow down, let the officer behind you know that you're not just trying to flee and create another problem for yourself, but that you are heeding the officer's commands, but you're going to pull over to an area where there's safety.
Okay. So it's really about using common sense. So let's answer a couple of these questions. One question is about the assumption that people from lower socioeconomic backgrounds are guilty while those in the suburbs aren't. Is that true, Kim? What do you see?
Well, the presumption of innocence should apply to everyone equally.
No matter what.
Irrespective of what socioeconomic group you are, or where you were raised, where you live. The unfortunate thing is I think that in the criminal justice system we see more people from lower socioeconomic groups caught up in the criminal justice system. So that is why there may be the presumption or perception that they're guilty and others are not.
Wow. Wow. And then another question is, a family member who's been sentenced without evidence, what can the family do? I'm going to broaden this out. What do people do if they don't have the money to afford a great lawyer like you? I mean, that they have to rely on, public defenders or whatever the case may be. How can people navigate and how do they get through difficult scenarios?
Well, if you can't afford an attorney, yes, there are public defenders who are, also very good attorneys, very dedicated attorneys who can provide a defense without any cost.
Okay.
When someone mentions that they've been sentenced without evidence, I'm assuming that means that they've been to trial and they disagree with the jury's verdict that they were found guilty. As long as there are steps that are followed following a conviction, following the sentencing, such as filing a motion for new trial, notice of appeal, you can preserve your rights to appeal that conviction.
But appealing is really all you can do.
Appealing is all you can do, and presumably I think that people also get confused with what evidence is. They believe that there's got to be a videotape or there's got to be a written statement or a photo of something. Evidence can be someone just testifying.
Wow.
If you say, I was at the scene and I saw defendant A doing this, this, and this, that is evidence.
There's so much that we don't know, and I so appreciate you and Chief coming on the show and kind of hashing it out with us just on a very small level, but a level nonetheless, which I'm hoping is going to help in the public discussion. So make sure that you listen to this entire show. It's on my website, JenniferKeitt, KEITT.com. You can also download Kim's Pop Quiz. You want to give your kids this quiz, and everyone that you know this quiz. It's absolutely great information. Thank you so much for being here. Be sure to tune in again next Sunday, 6 to 8 p.m. exclusively on KISS 104, Atlanta's R&B.